Hey everybody, it's Chris Bergstrom from BushidoPhoto.com, and today I'm going to show you how you can make amazing portraits in a small studio space. Alright, so you're saying to yourself, I have a small studio space, I'm in my living room, I'm in my basement, I'm at my friend's house, whatever the case is, and you don't have a lot of space, but you want to create amazing photos. The space that I work in is only 9 feet wide by 12 feet long with 8-foot ceilings. That is really not the best spot to be shooting portraits, but because I shoot in this location on an almost daily basis, I'm able to create portraits that I'm pleased with, my clients are pleased with, and it's all done by understanding how to use the space properly. So a couple tips I'll give you is your lens choice is very important. So for full length shots in this type of small studio, I'm going to be all the way up against the back wall, 12 feet back from the subject roughly. And I'm going to be shooting with a 50mm lens. And on my Fujifilm X-T2, X Pro 2, that's going to be the 35mm f2 lens. That'll allow me to get a full-length shot and have no issues. Now when I want to come in a little bit tighter, compress the background, get a little more out of focus background if I've got anything going on in that background, then I'm going to use my 50 to 140, which in full frame terms is equivalent to a 75mm to 210mm. And this gives me great compression. I can get some tight close-up shots on the face. I could do half length or even 3/4 length. Now, if I want to do a full-length shot with that, I'm going to have to move the subject all the way back against the background, and then that's going to cast shadows, which sometimes is purposeful in my studio work. Next thing we'll talk about is the shooting angle. So when you're in a small studio space, you don't have a lot of room to climb up on ladders and shoot down at people. If you have anything in your space, you want to move it out of the way so you can actually get down a little bit lower to shoot slightly up at the subject. And I tend to try to shoot from the waist level or the chest level. And this keeps the perspective of the person still straight up and down and not with their head leaning too far forward by being up too high or their head being too far back and their legs looking like they're really gigantic. Now, if you're really going for that look, you could go with a wide angle lens, but when you get into like the 24mm or even wider than that, then you're going to see the rest of the studio space, which then you're going to either have to Photoshop out or you're just going to have to live with the way it looks. All right, so now I'm going to talk to you about the equipment that I use. I'm putting all the links to all the products I use down in the description below. And this video is not sponsored by any means by anybody. I paid for all this equipment and gear all on my own. I'm just trying to share what works for me and the years of lessons learned by trying new things and finding out what actually works. So to hang the background up on the background with this 9-foot wide studio, I bought this Manfrotto extendable pole that extends out to 9 feet wide, and I attach it using these impact baby plates, and it allows me to either mount it on the wall sideways so that I can attach the bar here and then run to the other one on the other side, or you can actually attach it to the ceiling, and the bar has side holes that when it's attached out this way, you can actually slide it in, and it has a little locking mechanism that'll allow it to stay in place. So that's pretty handy. I just slide my backgrounds on it and I don't even tighten it. What I do is I just push it out and it stays in place as long as nobody's pulling it back down. They do lock if you need to do that, but for quick, easy tear down of the studio, I just leave them unlocked and it just stays up by itself. Next thing that I like to use a lot is the Manfrotto umbrella swivel adapter, and this allows me to attach a cold shoe with a brass adapter on the bottom of that so I can attach hot shoe flashes directly to light stands. And if I need to, I can also attach my Westcott Apollo softboxes, 60-inch, 7-foot umbrellas, whatever the case may be. Because it has a hole in it that's angled, I can attach everything to it and it holds very strong. So for the backgrounds, I'm actually linking a little bit more inexpensive background down below, but the blue background that you probably can't see right now because I'm doing Chroma key, which I'm chroma keying out the background, is a blue, medium light blue colored background that I got from Denny Manufacturing. And I love their backgrounds. They're pretty wrinkle free and stuff like that. But for, you know, a couple $100 for a background, if you're an enthusiast or just an amateur getting started out, I understand this equipment can become expensive. So I linked one down below that's like $40. It's a 10 by 20, same color, and you'll get the same results. If you have problems with wrinkles, I just recommend buying a fabric steamer and just steam the wrinkles out of it after you hang it up. There's also little bungee clips that you can attach to a light stand that clip onto the background and puts tension on the background to pull those wrinkles out as well. If you're stuck with the blue background, green background, whatever color, it could even be a pattern background, whatever the case is, to control the brightness is also going to control the lightness of the tone of the actual background. So if you add more light to the background, it's going to become a brighter color of blue. If you put less light, it's going to become a darker color of blue. And if you get your subject far enough away from the background and you're using a key light on the subject, you can actually make it to where the background goes completely black. And that's pretty amazing if that's the look you're going for, get that low key kind of look. You just want to feather the light so it's actually hitting the subject at an angle. You can add a reflector card over here or a second fill light on that side. And as long as they're aiming towards the center of the room, they won't spill onto the background. Now, if you want it to spill onto the background just to give a little bit of, you know, double duty to that light and actually make it brighter than just no light on it, then you can do that as well if you're stuck with just using only one light. For this photo shoot that I'm about to show you some photos and some behind the scenes video, the equipment that I used was one Godox 8600, which is a 600 watt second studio strobe, and I used two bare TT600 speed lights with no modifiers on them whatsoever. And it looks pretty amazing when you see the final results. I'll even show you the behind the scenes before we did any photoshopping or any editing whatsoever, because I like to get the images right as much as possible in camera and pre-visualize what the end result is going to be, whether that's a composite where I'm cutting the subject off the background, or if I'm going for some crazy moody lighting and I'm using a light blaster to blast a pattern onto the background, then that's what I'm already thinking about before I even go into the shoot. So the modifiers that I used for this photo shoot, the first one that you'll see in the video was a 35-inch Westcott Zeppelin, also linked down in the description below. This is by far my most favorite light. I love the lighting pattern that this gives you. It's kind of specular, it's also kind of soft, and they also make a arm that you can insert into it to move your strobe further or back to give a wider spread of light or a very narrow spread of light. It's one of my favorite modifiers. The other modifier that I used was a 50-inch Westcott Apollo softbox. This is a gigantic softbox, and you'll see how I used it along with the reflector when I get to that a little bit later in this video. So the reflector that I use is a Profoto large white and silver reflector. It's pretty big as well, but it folds up compact. It's a little tricky to fold it up at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. And you'll see me using it where the makeup artist is helping me out. She's holding it underneath the 50-inch Westcott softbox, which is giving me a very nice beauty light. It's basically clamshell lighting. Before you go into any photo shoot, it's a good idea to have a pre-visualized style of what you're going for. So a lot of people want to shoot cosplay, or they want to shoot boudoir, fashion, senior portraits, whatever the case is. And knowing ahead of time and pre-visualizing what it is that you're trying to accomplish in the photo shoot will help you and your team, if you're so lucky to have a team, all going in the right direction. So for this photo shoot, I wanted to go with something that looked very elegant, very soft, very feminine, and just kind of princessy, and also kind of like a porcelain doll. So we were thinking about the little ballerinas that are in those, spinning tops where the ballerina is spinning around. Something along those lines was kind of the general idea. I wasn't super specific, but we were fortunate enough to have a fashion designer, Nicole from the States, sent me to Japan, a few of her designs, and this was one that we chose today, which is a very nice tulle skirt with a very ballerina looking top to it. So we went with that. And then we had a flower crown that was made by Fiore Couture that just set off the whole look of the outfit, and it just was amazing in the end. And then we had our makeup artist create the very nice makeup look that went back to that old porcelain doll look, and it just sealed the deal, finished the whole package, and looked amazing. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. If there's anything you didn't understand or you want me to cover in more detail, please comment in the subscription below. Please comment in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and click on that little bell icon so you'll get notified the next time a new video comes out. So I'm here trying to help you become a better photographer. And again, thank you for watching.